Have you ever invested, significant time, money, and energy into a new venture, maybe, only for it to take a bit of an unexpected turn? Perhaps you find yourself with a highly specialized piece of equipment that, well, for whatever reason, you now need to sell. Sounds straightforward, right? Just
Hmm.
list it, find a buyer, move on. But for certain items, especially in the business-to-business world, it's really far from simple. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a very specific yet surprisingly common challenge: selling a used wall printer. Now, don't let the niche product fool you. This is really a microcosm for the broader, often unseen struggles of offloading any specialized B2B equipment when your plans, well, change.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that this isn't just about the mechanics of finding a buyer. It peels back layers of logistical hurdles, it exposes some market inefficiencies, and it even uncovers some unexpected human psychology that can genuinely get in the way of a successful sale.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack why selling this kind of specialized used equipment is so uniquely difficult. We want to explore the current pain points for owners, people who are actually going through this, and reveal an innovative solution that tackles both market reach and, maybe surprisingly, a personal barrier. We'll show you why a simple video can be the key to unlocking a global market, or conversely, become this unexpected roadblock. Okay, let's dig into this then. Our sources immediately flag the used wall printer as, well, almost a poster child for this much broader challenge, right? The difficulty of selling highly specialized used B2B stuff. What's the fundamental problem with something so niche, even before we get to, like, advertising it?
Well, the core issue really is the market itself. A wall printer isn't a general consumer item like a car or something. Its characteristics aren't widely understood by the public. You have to think about it. A typical buyer isn't just someone looking for a cool gadget. They're usually a business, maybe a contractor, an artist, or an entrepreneur with a very specific idea for using large format graphics. They need to understand the tech, the maintenance, the inks, the software. It's a deep dive for them too.
Ah,
So the pool of potential buyers is inherently tiny compared to, say, a used car or, furniture.
exactly. So you can't just list it on some general marketplace and expect a flood of interested, knowledgeable buyers lining up. It feels a bit like trying to sell, I don't know, a specialized surgical tool at a weekend flea market. Most
hmm
people wouldn't even know what they were looking at, let alone its real value or function.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, many owners find themselves in this exact situation because, well, their initial business idea didn't quite pan out. Or maybe their circumstances just changed, life happens, they invested significantly, maybe thousands, tens of thousands, in this specialized equipment with a clear vision. Sometimes it's even a passion project. But now they're left holding this significant asset that's proving incredibly difficult to offload. And often it's just sitting there collecting dust, depreciating in value.
Yeah, losing money day by day.
Right. So this specific example of a wall printer really helps us understand the broader, often unseen challenges, and sometimes the emotional toll, too, of reselling specialized B2B equipment. It's a really common dilemma for entrepreneurs facing a pivot or, sadly, sometimes a closure.
But the printer being niche, that's really just the start of the problem, isn't it? Our sources paint this picture of the entire selling process becoming a major source of frustration and, well, frankly, exhaustion for these owners. Can you walk us through some of those common pain points they run into?
Oh, absolutely. So once an owner decides, okay, I need to sell this thing, their first instinct is often local. They look at local classifieds, maybe community forums online, perhaps even tap into local business networks they know. But for an item like a wall printer, these channels are largely, well, ineffective. It's just not the right place.
Why is that exactly? Too small an audience.
Yeah, essentially you're trying to reach what is likely a global or at least national market for a very specialized tool, but you're using a purely local lens. It just doesn't compute, The relevant buyers are scattered all over the place. They're not concentrated in one town or city.
Okay, so local classifieds are pretty much out. What about those bigger general global marketplaces, the huge websites? Shouldn't a specialized item eventually find its buyer there? Or are those platforms, are they equally ineffective for something this niche?
That's a really good question. And our sources suggest that while, yes, global platforms offer wider reach in theory, they often present their own set of challenges. It's not a magic bullet. Without really specific categories or maybe expert filtering, a wall printer can still just get completely lost in the noise. There's just so much stuff.
Right. buried under thousands of other listings.
Exactly. Plus, the sheer volume of general listings means your item might only be seen if someone is searching with extremely precise keywords. And even then, making your listing stand out from the crowd requires significant effort. And that brings us neatly to the next big pain point: seller fatigue.
Ah, seller fatigue, I can imagine. So beyond just where to post the ad, there's this intense personal burden that builds up. Owners get tired, right? Constantly updating listings, trying to write new, catchy advertisements from scratch, and crucially, often paying for promotions, boosting posts that yield minimal, if any, real results.
Yeah, it becomes this relentless, often disheartening cycle. It feels like you're just pouring effort, maybe even money, into a black hole. That hustle, as one source called it quickly turns into sheer exhaustion.
I could see that.
Absolutely. Imagine constantly refreshing online forums, paying for promoted posts that get 0 clicks, 0 traction, or fielding calls from people who are just curious, tire kickers, who don't truly understand the equipment or what it's worth. Or maybe worse, consistently getting ridiculously low-ball offers after you invested so much time, money, and probably emotional energy into this thing.
Yeah, sounds draining.
It really is. The effort of constant self-promotion and ad management just starts to outweigh the perceived benefit or even the potential final sale price. So people understandably begin looking for alternative advertising solutions. They get desperate for any help to navigate this hustle and just get that specialized item off their hands, out of their garage or workshop. The traditional methods, they just aren't built for this kind of specific challenge. They don't provide the targeted, efficient outreach that's really needed.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense. When owners hit that wall, that point of fatigue, and start searching desperately for new options, that's where a platform like the Molinart YouTube channel comes into play. Our sources describe their approach as deceptively simple. Could you walk us through what that process actually looks like from the seller's perspective? What are they asked to do?
Yeah, the beauty of Molinart's approach, as our sources describe it, lies in its strategic simplicity and its global vision. The core idea is pretty straightforward: dramatically expand the geographical reach for potential buyers, move far beyond those useless local ads to a truly global and, importantly, relevant audience. And the process they propose is remarkably user-friendly, especially for someone feeling that fatigue.
So what's the very first step for an owner who's feeling burnt out but wants to try this?
It actually begins with the owner recording a short video, basically a self-presentation. And they just use their phone. This isn't meant to be some high-end professional shoot. It's meant to be authentic, real. In this video, they just introduce themselves, maybe saying, "Hi, my name is Vova," or whatever their name is. They state their current location. Maybe they're in Belgium, maybe France, maybe the US. Then they briefly describe the printer, give its key characteristics. Things like the model, the print area, maybe its age, its condition.
And what about the elephant in the room? The reason they're selling it, that's something they're encouraged to share in the video.
Crucially, yes, that's a key part. They are encouraged to explain why they're selling. And this could be anything, really, from, "Look, I had an idea for a business, it didn't quite work out," to, "I'm upgrading to a newer model," or maybe, "My business focus has just shifted." This personal touch, it builds trust, it adds context for the potential buyer, and it sort of humanizes the whole transaction. It's not just a machine changing hands, there's a story behind it.
That sounds incredibly appealing, especially the hands-off part after the initial video. But isn't there maybe a trade-off? What about sellers who, prefer having full control over their advertising? Or maybe they worry about how their expensive equipment is represented if they're not producing the final ad themselves.
That's a really valid concern, and it's actually where Molinart's value proposition, according to our sources, truly shines. What's fascinating here is that Molinart takes this raw, unedited footage from the owner's phone, and their dedicated team handles all the heavy lifting, all the tech stuff. They transform it into a polished, professional-looking advertisement. This includes editing, maybe adding relevant on-screen text with the technical specs, perhaps some suitable background music, ensuring the sound is clear, the visuals are good. They essentially become the seller's outsourced marketing department for this specific task.
Wow, so the owner doesn't need to be a video editor or some kind of marketing guru.
Exactly, that's the whole point. Molinart's team then strategically launches this enhanced video ad on their YouTube channel. And according to our sources, this channel has significant global reach and, importantly, a dedicated audience specifically interested in wall printing technology, people who know what they're looking at. This ensures the ad reaches potential buyers who are actively looking, maybe searching to save money on a used printer, and are specifically looking for this type of equipment on a global scale.
Got it.
So it effectively removes that huge burden of continuous self-promotion and ad management from the owner. It offers a powerful, genuinely hands-off solution. It's a really clear demonstration of how specialized platforms can bridge these market gaps. They provide both the reach and the professional presentation, leveraging the power of video to connect sellers with buyers worldwide.
Okay, this is where our deep dive reveals, well, a truly unexpected twist. And it's something I think many of us might relate to more than we initially think. Despite this seemingly perfect solution, free advertising, global audience, professional help, solving nearly all their problems, many owners apparently hit a wall, a completely different kind of wall. And the problem isn't the printer itself or the market for it or even Molinart's incredibly helpful hands-off service. No, the problem, believe it or not, is the simple act of recording that short video of themselves. Our sources show this clear reluctance, maybe even a palpable fear among some sellers when it comes to facing their own phone camera. I remember I once spent an entire afternoon trying to record a simple thank you message for a friend's birthday video. It was agony. Every take felt awkward, my hair was doing something weird, I kept mumbling. After about 10 tries, I just gave up and sent a text.
Haha, I know the feeling.
So I can absolutely relate to the individual in our sources who explicitly said, and this is a direct quote, "I'm afraid to see myself on the phone."
Wow. It's an almost unbelievable barrier when you consider the stakes involved. I mean, imagine a situation where you stand to gain, let's say, 10,000 euros, maybe more, from selling your printer, but you're genuinely afraid to record a short, maybe 1 or 2 minute video of yourself talking to a camera.
It seems disproportionate, doesn't it?
It really does. This isn't just, mild shyness. It seems to be a form of digital stage fright that's literally costing people real money, a significant amount.
That truly highlights a fascinating blind spot, I think, especially in an era where even small businesses often operate globally. We rely so heavily on digital communication now, everything from video calls with clients to social media marketing. This discomfort with presenting oneself on camera it's a critical and maybe often unacknowledged barrier.
It really raises an important question, doesn't it? About the fundamental skills required for effective business and just communication in the 21st century. How can someone be truly effective in a business that demands constant interaction? Talking to designers, maybe builders, architects, company managers, if they struggle with the fundamental act of presenting themselves, or even just talking to themselves on a selfie camera for a minute.
Yeah.
This personal barrier, this lack of comfort just looking into a lens, can literally cost them the sale of their printer. Despite all the logistical solutions like Molinart being available to them, it really highlights that sometimes the biggest obstacles aren't those external market forces we talked about earlier, but internal psychological ones. The lack of comfort with the technology, maybe a fear of judgment, or even just not knowing how to act naturally on camera can prevent a financially significant sale from happening.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener, the learner? We've explored the very specific, quite tricky challenges of selling a used wall printer. We looked at its niche nature, the ineffectiveness of local markets, and the personal toll of constant, often unrewarding advertising efforts, which frequently leads to severe seller fatigue.
And we've seen how innovative platforms like Molinart can provide a genuinely powerful solution. They offer that crucial global reach and professional ad creation, effectively removing many of the traditional hurdles that sellers face. Yet this deep dive uncovered that surprising and very human obstacle, the reluctance, even fear, of simply recording a short video of oneself, even when a significant financial gain is potentially on the line.
Yeah. This whole situation leaves us with a pretty thought-provoking question, I think. Beyond just selling a printer, how many opportunities or how much value might you be leaving on the table in your own life or your business? Not because of external market forces or lack of tools, but because of a simple internal reluctance, a hesitation to step outside your comfort zone and present yourself even when the stakes are actually quite high. What's maybe one area in your life or business where getting a little more comfortable with self-presentation, perhaps especially on camera, might unlock a huge opportunity for you? Something to consider until our next deep dive.